we have this
Beer.
is
Beer.
itself.
Beer. So many choices.
Oh, we no function beer well without.
Woohoo! Beer! Hello, and welcome to another episode of Beer Busters. We're going to bring you the news and reviews of your favorite brews. My name is Dan Baker. I'm joined by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner.
and the demented and fermented
Wayne Baker.
Oh, man. There's a lot happening. We are in the basement.
Woo.
It's been a while. We're home. We're sort of home. And not only are we in the basement,
We also had pizza.
we did have pizza. We had deep dish pizza. We had other pizza. We had pretzels. We had, what else do we have? Cheese sticks,
We had all the cheeses.
other stuff. Well, we're in the basement because we're here for our annual tradition.
Yeah. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's
Happy
Day
Valentine's
to everyone
Day.
out there in the Beer Busters podcast land. Hopefully you're having a good one. But
Yeah, if you have nothing better to do on Valentine's Day, like some of us here at the table,
ain't that
why not
Yep.
listen to Beer Busters?
Exactly. That's what you need to do. Well,
Hey, honey. Oh, wait, I don't have a honey.
it hits home. That means we have our annual Valentine's tradition, which means we have the guys from Craft Tastings with us, which means we have
Greg Orth.
and
Mike Reeser.
gentlemen, thank you so much for coming back.
Absolutely.
It still cracks me up that the first time Mike was ever here, he did not say a word.
I
Like,
know.
no one in the world, no one in the internet knows he was here that first time.
And I think
I-
we talk
I-
about that every year, too.
I did ask permission if I was supposed to talk tonight or not.
It's okay to speak.
He only speaks when spoken to.
Jeez.
Well, it's good to be back. This is what, year 5 or
5 or 6?
5 or
Yeah.
It might
We-
be
Five.
6.
And you know the other thing is
It's at least 5.
every year we forget what number we're on.
Oh, you're right, yes.
Yep.
And we never fact check it.
Nope,
Who
not at all.
cares?
Oh, don't let the details get in the way of the story.
Exactly. Exactly. I can't wait for what's in store because it's something that's a little different than we've done every other year, from what I understand. Not to give too much away. Before we get into all the madness and the efficiency, we should let everybody out there know, of course, you can find us online at Beer Busters on Twitter and Instagram, Beer Busters Podcast on the Facebook, beerbusterspodcast.com, 805-991-BEER, not like anyone fucking uses it, but 805-991-2337.
Dan is salty.
Well, people do, and you don't ever let Wayne or I listen to them.
I haven't gotten any notifications in a long
Oh,
time.
fun fact, that's now our official business number on our Facebook page.
Oh, cool.
Nice. I approve of that.
And, of course, patreon.com
So if you need
/BeerBusters.
if you need Beer Busters technical support, 805-991-BEER.
Yeah, good luck with that. So we have a sipping beer.
We do have a sipping
a
beer.
beer that we were supposed to consume 8 episodes ago, but
Things happened.
Things got in the
shit
way.
happened. So if you remember from episode 152, where Wayne and Dan were at Suburban Brewing, we also had they did a wonderful phone interview with Scott, the brewmaster at Anchor Brewing, who was an awesome guy because he said nice things about me even though I wasn't there.
He did.
So, but they were kind enough to send us a really cool package that included some beers, and one of those was the one of their newest brands, which you guys talked about on the show, Fogbreaker IPA, which is a 6.8% India Pale Ale that has fresh pine and tropical hops with a smooth, clean finish. So we are sipping on that. Finally,
I know.
it's been too long.
I have been
So is
thinking
that
about
on
this.
the market?
yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of their newest products.
It's quite good. It's nice and crisp and
Oh.
West Coasty.
Very West Coasty. Yes, Prost.
It's about as far away from New England as you can get, both literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like orange juice.
Yeah, it's very nice. I'm so excited. Like, I felt so bad when we were talking to Scott because like, well, we don't actually have the beer in front of us.
Yeah, and we were supposed to do it the
share.
episode after, but
And then
we
yeah,
still had things happening.
all this is to say though, if you do want to send us free beer, we're usually pretty timely about drinking
Yep.
it. So
Steph at beerbusterspodcast.com.
don't be discouraged. You can find our business address if you look hard enough.
If you look hard enough.
That is true.
Don't look too hard.
It's not on Untapped.
Yeah.
Now, normally this is where we would do the news, but we had the chance to speak to somebody who is a very cool business owner from Golden, Colorado, a woman who has gone through hell and has come back from it and has started her own gluten-free brewery. We got to speak to Karen Hertz, the owner of Holidaily Brewing. So here's our little chat with her. So this is another one of those times where we're able to do a phone interview. We get to connect with somebody who's not in our immediate area, and it's wonderful. I have so much fun with these. And thank you to Wayne for helping set all this up. This is great. So we have joining us on the phone from Golden, Colorado, founder of a place called Holidaily Brewing. We have with us Karen Hertz. Karen, how are you?
I'm good.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, of course. Thank you for joining us. This is great to have you on. The story of Holidaily is a little different than most breweries. You specialize in gluten-free beers.
That's right.
Which is something I've noticed, more and more breweries are adding to their lineup are gluten-free, but I don't think I've seen anybody that's focusing specifically on gluten-free, at least not many. Now, there's a interesting backstory with it, too, which I'd love if you could explain how it all came to be.
Yeah, for sure. So I started Holidaily Brewing Company kind of as a combination of my education, my work experience, and then my personal life. So education-wise, I had an MBA in entrepreneurial studies. Did not ever think I would start a company, but couldn't decide on a segment of business like marketing or finance. So I just went with this entrepreneurship degree, which let me study a little bit of everything. And I worked for 10 years in the beer business, mostly in distribution, at Miller Coors here in Golden. And then I ran into some health issues. So in 2007 was diagnosed with melanoma. And in 2008 was diagnosed with thyroid cancer and an autoimmune thyroid disease, and was told I needed to cut gluten out as part of my treatment. So really took that education and my beer experience and my love for beer and started looking into gluten-free beers and gluten-free ingredients, and created a company that made great craft beer that happens to be gluten-free. And I figured, I hoped and figured there would be other people out there like me that wanted to continue drinking beer but couldn't drink traditional craft beer or traditional beer. So built this company around that idea, and we opened in February of 2016. So we're about to celebrate our 3rd year anniversary.
Congratulations on that.
Thank
It's
you.
great that something like this could come out of such a trying time in your life. Throughout all of the studies of gluten-free beer, I mean, was it something that you had really thought that it could kind of take off on its own and could be its own little niche of the beer industry? Or I guess kind of what led you to starting your own business instead of just drinking other people's gluten-free beer that you could find?
Good question. Well, I had tried some of the beers on the market at that time that were gluten-free, and it just the quality of the beer wasn't there for me. I'm not a big cider drinker either, so I wanted to look into the ingredients specifically, and what it comes down to is, especially in the early days, the gluten-free beers that were being made with syrup, so sorghum syrup or rice syrup, and it's sort of like beer, but it's really thin and it's cidery and sweet, and I really wanted craft beer tasting beer, and looked into the ingredients of it and actually found a company here in Colorado called Grouse Malt House, and she malts and roasts only gluten-free grains. So she was kind of a step ahead of me in terms of trying to find ingredient options for people like me who wanted to open breweries and create beer that was made with grain, actual grain versus syrups. So that's what drove me to start my own, was I wasn't really satisfied with what was out there at the time.
I mean, that's a good point to enter the market. I mean, I've had some gluten-free beers. Years ago, I had a girlfriend who was diagnosed with celiac, and so was her sister. Mm-hmm. So I kind of became pretty interested in that sector of the beer market. And the ones that I would try that I knew she could drink, I'm with you. I didn't really like the taste because a lot of them were brewed with that syrup. Some other ones would use, like I think Mission uses, Brewer's Clarex to reduce the gluten, but it doesn't totally get rid of it at that point.
Correct. Yeah, that's really what that is those types of beers, anything that says crafted to reduce gluten or crafted to remove gluten, are beers that are originally made with barley or wheat. And then at the end of the process, they add that Brewer's Clarex or Clarity Firm sometimes.
Right.
And what it does is it takes a gluten protein that's a certain length and just chops it into teeny tiny pieces. So the gluten is still in the beer, it's just in a very, very small form. So some people can drink it and feel okay. A lot of what I get in the tap room is I can have one or two and then I don't start feeling great. Some are sensitive enough that they have a sip and they're sick right away. And then others are like, yeah, I can drink a gluten-reduced beer. So we kind of get it across the board, but ultimately it's not gluten-free. There's just very small pieces of gluten within the beer. And the difference between a gluten-reduced beer And something that Holidaily makes is we only include gluten-free ingredients from the very beginning. So there's not a chance for people to get sick from our beer, either from, the gluten-reduced side of things or cross-contamination. That's all we brew here is gluten-free beer.
Karen, I'm curious. First of all, I think it's awesome that you have a local maltster out there making gluten-free products for you. A lot of the local breweries that we speak to that try to use Pennsylvania craft malt, for example. We have a lot of Pennsylvania brews on the show. Their main concern is the cost and how that cost then carries over to the consumer, because they say, consumers do not want to pay $10, $15 for a pint of beer, but, good ingredients do cost a lot of money. How do you keep your product accessible so that people are willing to come and pay for it? And, you're in Golden, Colorado, so you're competing with many other much larger breweries as well. So how do you keep your price point down?
Yeah, and I'll be honest, our price point isn't necessarily down. We're a premium product. It costs us 5 to 8 times to brew it as it does a traditional beer. So, and a traditional craft beer at that. So it's definitely an expensive product to make. A pint in our tap room is $8. So it's not a $10 or $15 pint, but it's $8. What I knew from the beginning and what I have found is, in particular with the gluten-free consumer, they are willing to pay for this crossroad of quality and safety. So you want a really safe product that you can rely on, that tastes really good, and you're willing to pay a premium for that. In the grocery store, a gluten-free person pays 250% more for groceries than a traditional shopper.
I believe it.
So they know that this is part of that process. And you can have a product that's really, really safe and tastes terrible, or you can have a product that tastes pretty good but isn't really that safe. So finding that really sweet spot where you're committed to where those two things cross over is where people will pay a little bit more for a safe, quality product.
And I like the quote from your website. Holidaily is not only about selling great products, but actually improving the lives of people who have likely been sick with a wide range of symptoms. We are on a mission to give people a good gluten-free beer drinking experience. It's really about so much more than beer. And I think that's the point. You can't put a price point on your health and, being able to enjoy things that would otherwise cause you harm or pain. And honestly, I've paid $8 for a pint of beer before, so that's really not as outrageous as I was expecting, especially when you said that you're working with a local maltster. So that's exciting.
Yeah, it's and to the point of the experience, I didn't fully expect this to be part of the outcome of opening the brewery, but we get people in here who either were really into home brewing and really in, Colorado craft beer is huge, into the craft beer scene. And then you get hit with a celiac diagnosis and you're like, I'm never going to have an IPA again. And they walk in and we have this tap room experience and 10 beers on tap. They can have anything in here and it gets people emotionally. And it's insane that, we get grown men in tears at the bar like, oh my God, this is amazing.
I can have real beer again.
Like I said, yeah, it wasn't expected, but it is by far my favorite part because it is about so much more than beer. When you're the gluten-free person in the crowd, Dan, when you're talking about your girlfriend, she's high maintenance. Like, you're the high maintenance one.
Yeah, in many ways she was high maintenance. This is just one that wasn't her fault.
And you know it, as the group, you're part of the group and you're like, oh God, I'm totally the high maintenance one and we have to pick a restaurant based on my food allergies and blah, blah, blah. And you can walk in here and have any beer. And by the way, all your friends are going to love what we have too. So you're not limiting yourself. You're not limiting your social life. And just, it gets really deep for people. And so it really is about so much more than beer. So that's by far my favorite part.
That's pretty awesome. Speaking about so much more than beer, literally, do you also serve food at the brewery or in the tap room?
So we have food trucks come here, and they are required to have gluten-free options. One crazy thing that's happened is 2 of our customers over the past 3 years have started a food truck based around the brewery.
Oh, wow.
So they were like, oh, I kind of wanted to, I've been thinking about doing a food truck. There's not a lot of great gluten-free food truck options. I'm just going to start one. So we've had 2 separate people do that. When I started it, I was like, how are we going to find food trucks? And now people are building some food trucks around us, which is the coolest.
That is pretty great.
So you mentioned you have 10 beers on tap. So obviously you have an IPA.
Yeah.
You've mentioned that. What are some of the other styles that you have on at the brewery?
So at the brewery right now, we have everything. We have a blonde, a wit style beer. We have the IPA. We have a porter, a stout. We have a quad on right now, a 12% quad beer that we just launched.
Dan just perked up.
I'm back.
Hello. But yeah, with these malts that Grouse Malting makes for us, the options are really limitless. And we can make all different styles, all different colors. It's really allowing us to be creative and come up with almost anything. So we're totally scratching the surface of gluten-free brewing. I think about barley brewing, and people have been brewing with barley and wheat in the U.S. for hundreds of years, and we've been brewing with these gluten-free grains, and we use primarily millet and buckwheat for like 8 years.
Yeah.
So we're still learning so much, and we, at this point, can make a great variety for people to try.
I'm curious about your opinion on a new trend that's sort of sneaking into craft beer of these spiked sparkling waters or seltzers. Platform Brewing in Ohio has already canned a few of them and has several on tap. One of our local breweries here in Pennsylvania, Lancaster Brewing Company, recently announced that they're going to be doing 4 different flavors. I think it's an exciting option for people that cannot tolerate gluten, but also for those of us that maybe want to be a little more health conscious and reduce gluten and, have less carbs and less calories. Is that something that you're excited about to see come to the market?
It's great, and I actually enjoy some of those myself for sure. It's always good to have options. I think ultimately breweries right now are looking for ways to bring people in, and we are this is a very big rarity, I think anywhere, but for sure in Colorado, we're in about 35 different breweries because they want to have a gluten-free option for people.
That's awesome.
And what they realize is that the gluten-free person is an influencer on a group. So if I'm going out with 10 friends, like we said before, I'm high maintenance. I get to pick where we go. So I pick, one of the other breweries in Denver that we're in, and I will buy the gluten-free beer that's there, and my 9 friends will buy their beer. So it's really a great benefit for them to have a gluten-free option. So I understand why breweries are adding things like these spiked ciders and even kombucha or whatever. It's because that gluten-free person can be a big influence on a larger number of people than just themselves. So it really makes sense. I do think in the long run, I started this business because I love beer. Colorado's a big sports town. Maybe you go to an Eagles game, but I want to have a beer at a football game. I don't really want to have vodka or wine.
Good point.
I want a beer at a tailgate party. And, Colorado's après ski and we mountain bike, and it's tied to our social community here. And seltzers are a great option, but there's just a time and a place for beer. And I think there always will be. So that's why Holidaily, we are really focused on the beer portion of really the community.
I couldn't agree more that there is a time and a place for beer, and that's how I live my life.
All times and all places?
Yeah, pretty well. Unfortunately,
it might be all the time.
Yes, every place all the time. That is true. Now, I know. So you had said you are in about 35 other breweries as the gluten-free option. So I guess I've got 2 questions. One is about that. Do you require that they are dedicating the same line to it? Because I would imagine if you're in another brewery, if they have to take one of theirs off and put yours on, there's always that risk of contamination. Yep. So do you require that they dedicate a specific line to your beer?
Yep. Yeah. So we start out with a very strict conversation around, we'll come in and replace the line if you want us to. If you don't want us to, we'll come in and clean the line. But once it's tapped, that's dedicated to Holler Daily. And, breweries, I wouldn't do that with some giant sports bar downtown that's crazy and they're, slinging kegs all the time. But breweries are very particular about their lines, more so than maybe other places. So I feel comfortable with the breweries really understanding, you can't get people sick on this. This has to be a strict, hard, fast rule. I even go as far as generally I go in and train their staff because not only can you mess up the tapping the keg, but all the way to serving people. So I've been in a restaurant with my husband. He orders a beer that has gluten. I order a Holler Daily, and by the time it reaches us, it's mixed up. So the training isn't just the lines. It's all the way through how you pour it, how you give it to the server, how the server gets it to the table. So there's a lot to think about with gluten-free and making sure the customer is safe.
Yeah, there's a lot of extra education that goes on with that.
Yeah.
So if you educate the people at the breweries on it, do you distribute anywhere else? Do you have bottles and cans at all?
We do. So we sell 16-ounce 4-pack cans, and we're throughout the Denver metro area right now. We have a couple other draft accounts, but not a lot. And we have 3 year-round packages. We do our Favorite Blonde, our Fat Randy's IPA, and our Riva Stout year-round. And then we have 2 seasonals. We have our Wit we put in a can for spring and summer, and then we have a pumpkin beer we put in a can for the fall.
Very cool. Do you have plans on distributing a little further than that area at any point?
I hope so, yeah. So actually, we are building a new brewery,
Ooh.
And it will be solely focused on production. So right now we're at about 190 barrels of fermentation that we can play with on any given day. And when we open the new facility, which should be in April, we'll have 600 barrels of fermentation. So it will help us grow a lot. We're focused right now primarily on Colorado and really getting all of Colorado filled out. And then probably within the next 2 to 3 years, we'll start looking outside and picking some markets where there's a high demand for us.
Global domination takes time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Slow and steady. I don't know if we mentioned so far. You are in the state of Colorado the only certified, dedicated, completely gluten-free brewing facility.
That is true. So, of the over 7,000 breweries in the U.S., only 10 of us are dedicated gluten-free.
That was going to be my question.
Only one in Colorado.
Curious if you knew how many there were across the country. Wow, that's amazing.
There's 10. The majority are in Portland and Seattle. So there's, I think, 4 in Portland, 1 in Seattle. And then they kind of spread a little bit north. There is one in Pennsylvania, and it's called Aurochs, Aurochs. And they're a dedicated gluten-free brewery there that you might want to talk to sometime. They're good peeps over there.
Very cool. I love that there's, I was going to ask, is there a community within the 10 of you? Since it's a minority compared to 7,000, but do you guys, communicate together regularly? Is there a bit of a community within the gluten-free breweries?
Yeah, yep, there is. And we've, a couple of us have done collaborations together and we have plans to do some more. So, there is a community. A lot of it, I think, for all of us is around education and really teaching people the difference between gluten-reduced and gluten-free and why it's important to really have the consumer know those differences so they don't think, this one gluten-free beer is going to make me sick and this one isn't. They know those differences. So I think that's the biggest area that we collaborate on. But yeah, it's been a pretty tight-knit group, and we just like promoting making good craft gluten-free beer. The reputation has been not great for a long time, and these guys are all making some really good beer. So it's great to have each other to help prove that it's possible to make good gluten-free beer.
That's awesome. I've always said that there's a camaraderie in the beer community, and I'm glad that it extends to the gluten-free beer community as well.
It does.
I've got one more question before we let you go. Seeing as you are in Colorado, and that's more or less one of the beer meccas of the country, are you able to submit beer to GABF? Is there a gluten-free category at all?
There is a gluten-free category. So yeah, we submit to GABF. We have for the last 2 or 3 years. We haven't won any awards yet, but there is a category, and it grows every year. And sometimes it's, some of these core guys, and then sometimes it's, a brewery does a one-off that we don't see coming, and we're like, what? Who is that? So, it's getting more and more competitive every year, for sure.
That sector, I can imagine, is only going to grow, too.
It is, yeah, absolutely.
Well, before we let you go, I know we mentioned at the top of the interview that your third anniversary is coming up on February 2nd of the brewery. Also, your 10-year cancer-free anniversary. So I just wanted to say
that is true.
Congratulations.
Yes,
that is
congratulations.
awesome. So glad that you beat it
Thank you.
and 10 years later, and you're doing this awesome thing out of what was, I'm sure, a rough time. So that's great, and congrats.
Me too. Thanks. You hate to say, it was worth it, but it was worth it to come up with this and feel like we just have accomplished so much in 3 years, and we really are back to doing more than just beer. And it's been an awesome ride so far, and there's a lot more to come. So we're going to throw a big party on February 2nd in our tap room.
Well, that is great.
Awesome.
That is awesome. I hope we're able to spread the word on that. I hope people in the area are able to come out and support. And it's great that something could come out of such a trying time, and you came out stronger, it seems like. So
For sure.
Congratulations.
Absolutely.
Well, I
appreciate you guys having me.
Oh, of course. We can't thank you enough for taking the time to speak with us. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. You too. Cheers and have a great 2019.
Oh, you as well.
Thank you so much.
Thanks again to Karen for taking some time out and speaking to us. It was an awesome interview, and I would love to try those beers at some point.
Yeah, she is so awesome. I want to go out there.
Yeah, it's a great story, and she has a good head on her shoulders from what I can tell, and
I love all the women involved in this project.
Yeah.
A woman-owned brewery, a woman-owned malt house.
Yeah.
Like this, it's awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Well, that brings us to what we have on hand for tonight.
Greg.
Yay.
Well, and Mike.
And Mike. Greg.
Wow.
And Mike.
And Mike.
Wow.
Well, Mike didn't bring beer, so
That's a good point.
I'm very, very mad at him. I'm very mad at him. But what's up, guys? What's new?
Oh, just living the dream every day. Still doing what we're doing and pairing good craft beer with stuff.
With stuff,
right?
I love that you're expanding beyond chocolate, which you have over the last 5 years that we've known you.
Right, and every time we do the Valentine's episode here, I'm just trying to do something different, right? Because I think the first few years we pretty much stayed with beer and chocolate, which is what craft tasting specialty is for, is pairing craft beer and chocolate.
Your specialty should be the grilled cheese, I'm just saying.
That was pretty good, too.
That was really good.
That was legit the best
I would
pairing ever.
also like to mention the candied bacon, because that was fucking phenomenal.
Well, as I look at the thing here, it was Night of Bacon.
God, that was one of the best
2
nights
years
of my
ago.
life.
Yeah, and
Yes.
then going blind last year.
Well, that's right. We went blind last year. I forgot about that part.
Uh-huh.
So, and I won't necessarily say what we're doing yet for tonight or for today, but
Things might get a little salty.
just trying to shake stuff up a little bit. So, not a whole lot new. Still doing what we're doing, but we do have an upcoming event at the Black Gryphon in Elizabethtown for anybody that's around the area.
So glad they're reopened.
Yes, they had a bad fire, but they remodeled and they're back open. And we're doing a beer and bacon pairing on February 11th.
Dan's face.
Yes, that is. We are doing a 5-course beer and bacon. So not just straight up bacon, but we're going to probably do. Haven't finalized the pairings yet, but the candied bacon, which you've had a pleasure of having. We're probably going to do a bacon jam. We're going to do a bacon mac and cheese, probably a pork belly of some sort, like an Asian pork belly, I think we might throw in there, and TBD on the 5th bacon component, but maybe some pancetta, some different things that are going on. So we're doing a beer and bacon pairing, and I'm very excited about that.
We were just talking not too long ago about how versatile pigs are and all the different things you can make from them.
That's very true.
And not just food. I mean, cosmetics, gelatin, ointments. I'm sure.
They can be your friends.
Oinkments.
I was going to say, did you say ointment?
Oinkments.
All right, I'm done.
You had an opportunity.
You're so
there. You missed
funny.
it. You missed it.
It would be like a really cool pre-Valentine's night out. Like, the guy usually does all the planning for Valentine's Day. Like the girl could take the guy to this, or it could be, there's like Friendsgiving now with Thanksgiving, and people do like Friends Christmas things. This could be like a Friends Valentine's event.
Friends-a-tines
Friends.
Day.
I was trying to think of some way to
Valen Friends.
Valen Friends.
Oh, wow,
Valen, yeah. But no, it'd be
That's the tagline. Val and Friends. Oh wow, it's getting deep.
How deep do you want to go? No, so that's the next event that we have coming up, and most of my stuff is more on the private event side. So it's be nice to do a public event again at the Black Rifle in E-Town. So if you live in the area, Beer and Bacon, February 11th. Sign up. There's limited spots. So it's actually an event that I've been planning in my head for probably the past 2 years.
Wow.
And just haven't had the opportunity to do it. And so Tony at the Gryphon is a great partner, and he will pretty much do anything to have some nice events. And so this is what we're going to do. It's going to be pretty awesome.
Now, I know we've mentioned this before on the show, but perhaps for someone that's hearing one of our episodes with you for the first time, talk a little bit about how your private events go and how people can get in contact with you
to
do a private event.
So the easiest just be to hit me up either on Facebook at Craft Tastings or internet on www.crafttastings.com. All my contact info's out there. But primarily, I just am a special event company. So we do, typically we do 5 pairings for an event where we pair a specific craft beer with something, whether it's chocolate or cheese or grilled cheese or bacon or things of the sort. And kind of just walk you through the 5 pairings, similar to what we've done here on the show the last couple of years. And it's just a really good time. A lot of times it'll just be, somebody saying, hey, I've got 4 or 5 couples coming over and we want to do something different. Mm-hmm. I'll do a decent amount of corporate events as well, whether it's a staff party or whether it's, hey, I want to take my top clients out for something unique and different. That's not just dinner or a happy hour.
You'd be closing $1 million deals over beer and chocolate. How cool is that?
Because nobody's ever done something like this before, typically. So the clients are like, wow, this is really kind of cool. I feel special. So I like to make people feel special.
Aw. There's the tagline.
Right. It is Valentine's Day, after all.
For sure.
So yeah, that's what I do. Put beer together with stuff and then put it in your mouth, and hopefully you achieve a mouthgasm.
1 + 1 = 3.
There you go.
Indeed. Yes.
The taste of the beer plus the taste of the stuff should give you something totally new and different.
So you keep emphasizing stuff. So I assume that we're not having chocolate tonight.
We are not having chocolate tonight.
And
so
you didn't bring the George Foreman grill, so I guess there's no grilled cheese.
I did not bring the George Foreman grill. So
We're letting the cat out of the bag
if
early?
if we try to recap what we've done, I think the first 2 years was traditional beer and chocolate.
Yes.
Then I believe the third year, so this might be year 6. The third year we kind of did a mix of beer and chocolate and beer and grilled cheese, and I think we had some beer and bacon.
Yes.
Wild card, yeah.
So this is
that
year
was the
6.
beginning of the bacon.
Year 4 then would have been
That was the night
of bacon, and that was all just beer and bacon. And then year 5, which was
night.
last year, we kind of challenged everybody and we did the going blind thing.
That was a lot of fun.
That was cool. I remember the red velvet chocolate that you had. It was great.
So I didn't tell you what the chocolate was. I didn't tell you what the beers were, and had to have you guys kind of figure out what went with
That
what.
was fun.
Yeah,
that was so
and
much fun.
I was worried that was going to be something that wasn't like super listenable, even though it was like super awesome to do.
Sure.
But it was an amazing experience, and I think thanks to our talent as podcasters and Dan's talent as an editor.
Oh, I was gonna say that myself, but I'm so glad that you did.
It turned out really well. But no, that was definitely a highlight. I mean, that was really cool when we did the going in blind thing.
So then I think that validates that I believe this is year 6.
That sounds about right.
This
then
is, yeah.
And so
I'm
this
trying
year,
to count,
what we're doing is
fact checking.
we've actually done a one-off.
This is 6. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
I still don't believe it.
We've done a one-off of this through one of the other episodes, but now we're going to do it fully for today's episode, and we're going to do.
Greg, you're being corny.
You're popping off over there, Mike. Like, seriously.
Quick, think of another one. I can't.
Pop-Tarts.
There's a kernel of truth in
Oh, you're so good.
I'm all
Things
ears.
are getting buttery.
I'm all ears. Hear that?
I
See,
suck at puns.
I like that one. I'm all ears.
He's good at puns.
So, should we
This
pop
is
off what we're doing?
Amazing.
Amazing.
Please.
Oh, wow.
Please, let's just get started, please.
Okay, so
Let's just do a podcast of puns.
A puncast.
Yes.
A puncast.
Exactly.
Anyway, so
I'm
as I'm
tweeting
being
that.
interrupted by all these punny things. So this evening we're going to do beer and popcorn.
Yes.
So an episode or 2 ago, I have a popcorn spice that I use, and I do it some of my tastings as kind of a one-off.
Yeah, that was
I call it
good.
my spicy pig popcorn. Yeah. So we've done that, and that goes really well because what it does is it creates a very different mouthfeel with the crunch and all that. That's different than kind of a luscious, smooth chocolate. So tonight we're going to do beer and popcorn. And kind of what inspired it was I do the one popcorn in my tasting, but I'm like, I want to do more popcorns. So life truly does happen for your benefit. And once you know, there's a new store that opened in Lancaster. So Lancaster is where I'm from and where I live.
Or Lancaster if you're not from the area.
No, it's Lancaster. So a new store opened up downtown. It's called the Pop Shop, POP''D. So the Popped Shop. Mark Weider is the guy that owns the place, and it's a popcorn shop. And so he was in Harrisburg, and he relocated to Lancaster.
That's why I know it.
Yeah, he's in the Hilton building there. There's like a bunch of shops there. I forget what it's called.
He did like oh my God, it was brewed with one of the beers, one of the breweries that was there, and it was like a chocolatey popcorn. It was so good.
Yes.
Oh, it was good.
Is that the popcorn you brought home a couple of times?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've had that
it was
before.
great.
Okay, yeah.
They have Pop Toast.
So their whole thing is
even know what that
pop
means.
stuff. So they can't say Pop Tart because that's a proprietary term. But we can
That's
here.
what Pop Toast
So he
is.
calls it Pop Toast.
Soda Pop.
They have soda pop. They have popsicles. They have popcorn. And so they're really just playing
All
off the word
things
pop.
pop.
And it's just a really cool concept. And so I'm like, okay, he opened that store in my town to tell me this is what you need to do next. And you need to fulfill the need of doing a pairing with beer and popcorn. So unfortunately, I wanted to have Mark here with us tonight just because I thought it'd be fun to bring him along. But I think he's out of the country. So he's not able to be here, but we do have his popcorn on hand.
Oh my God, and I need to go here to have this Pop Toast.
And yes.
Holy shit.
So it's just a really, he's a really good dude. He's actually a lawyer. And he decided, you know what, I'm not into the law thing anymore. And so he became an entrepreneur and opened up this popcorn shop in Harrisburg, then moved it down to Lancaster. And just a really cool dude. And they make some really good popcorn amongst some of their Pop Toast and other stuff. So, like I said, it's called the Pop Shop in Lancaster.
They're on North Queen Street.
Yep, and it actually, if anybody's from the Lancaster area, it is in the location of what used to be called Ziggy's Magic Shop. It was Ziggy's Magic Shop even when I was a kid. It's a tiny little shop, but it used to be a magic store, and so that's the location of where he's at in the old Ziggy's on Queen Street. So it's called the Pop Shop.
So still making magic.
There you go, just in a different kind of way.
One pop at a time.
One pop at a
Oh
time.
God.
That's corny. That's
Well, I certainly hope it's popular.
We were much butter off before that.
Now I'm getting salty.
oh goodness. So anyway, that's what we got going on tonight.
So how does it change when you go from? Well, I guess bacon is a salty food
Yeah, it is.
by nature, but. Oh, I didn't even mean to do that. I did not
See
even
what
mean to
you
do
did
that.
there.
You see what I did there. So how different was it to pair the popcorns with beers than it was for because chocolate kind of stays in your mouth for a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's probably a different experience that you had preparing, and we're going to have.
It is
going through
it
this.
is different, because with chocolate, you get the chocolate about in your mouth, and then you kind of keep your whole inside of your mouth coated, and then you throw the beer back on top. Well, popcorn doesn't work that way. So it was interesting when Mike and I were putting the pairings together. You have to do a little bit more swishing. So once the popcorn's still in your mouth, swish with the beer. But then there was like, okay, do you swish with it all together when it kind of gets a little nasty, or do you kind of taste it, part the popcorn away a little bit, and throw the beer kind of down the center of it, where you still get some of the flavor from it? So it just you'll see it's definitely a little bit different.
So I've got to be honest. I used to work at a movie theater, and we would get free popcorn, all that we wanted, and of course free soda too. So when I would go into the movie theater, of course, popcorn is salty. You need to have some kind of beverage with it. I would swish the popcorn around with like my cherry Coke or my root beer. And I didn't realize that years later I would be doing this on like semi-professional level.
You're a trendsetter.
You'd be swishing professionally.
I'm a professional swisher.
Swish.
You're a pioneer. I love it.
I guess so.
It is a little bit different,
Yeah.
but it's fun. It's but you also have to have good flavored popcorn.
Right.
And that's really what I like about Mark and his shop is the flavors that he puts together for his popcorns are really, really good. And you'll see about it here in a couple of minutes how that really does fare well with some of the beers that we've got, and it's going to work out pretty well.
So we're talking about getting the flavors together and how we hope to get the mouthgasm and 1 + 1 = 3. I know I've said this every year, but like Steve had said, if somebody is listening to this is their first craft tasting episode, it is the most eye-opening experience you will have with beer and food.
Yes.
It's such an amazing thing to know that you can get these different flavors that aren't even there just by combining something together.
Yeah, and so just so you know, too, so there are a lot of restaurants and breweries that do beer dinners.
Right.
And that's really about complementary stuff, should we say, where it's like, hey, here's a nice beer that has a certain flavor or certain note to it, and then here's some food that kind of has some similar stuff. And so they're really good. That's not what I do, right? So I don't do like beer dinners like that. I do like beer pairings, right? So it really isn't going back to the kind of one of my slogans is 1 + 1 = 3. So you have the taste of the beer, right? You'll have the taste of the popcorn, for example. That's the 1 + 1 = 3, where something just totally different comes out at the end. It's either highly accentuated of a certain flavor, or it gives you something totally different. And so, whether it's beer or whether it's popcorn, whether it's cheese, whether it's chocolate, basically you've got to match. I always say you've got to match intensities, right? So if you have a super kind of heavy and dark and intense beer, you've got to pair something with some similar intensity to match up with it,
right?
Now, if I go back to the chocolate example, if you have a light beer, you're not going to be able to pair it with a super dark chocolate because all you're going to taste is the chocolate, and you're going to miss the beer. Conversely, if you have a super heavy beer and you have a really light chocolate, all you're going to taste is the beer, and you're going to miss the chocolate. So it actually is a lot of work to try to figure out what's that middle road where the two play well together and give you that 1 + 1 = 3.
He says work. It's eating chocolate and drinking beer, though. I mean, really.
Yeah. It may sound glamorous, but it's a rough job that Mike and I have to go through for this.
Yes, it was very. The popcorn was actually a nice
change.
Because you didn't just get filled up with
popcorn's
sugar
light.
and chocolate.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a little bit different than what we've done. But, we go through the struggle for all of you listeners.
We're here
We
for
appreciate
you.
it.
The struggle is real. And but we take on that struggle, we take on that pain for
So you
everyone
don't
else's
have to.
enjoyment.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're givers. That's what we do.
Not takers.
That's right.
Well, we've talked about it for long enough, and we have this spread of several cups of popcorn and several cups of beer in front of us. Where do we start? What's the game plan?
What's the game plan? Well, let's just get started. So we have for your tasting and mouthgasm pleasure this evening.
Let's run down the lineup, I guess.
We have 4 craft beer and popcorn pairings this evening. Again, recapping that we're using popcorn from the Pop Shop in Lancaster. So the first pairing that we have, and I'll read through them, and then we'll kind of go through and taste them. So the first one we're using. Has anybody in this room, in this basement, been monkeyed before?
Depends on your definition.
Think so, but I don't remember most of it.
Okay, then you were monkeyed, of course. So we have the delicious and beer that's been around for quite some time, the Victory Golden Monkey, which is a Belgian triple. It will knock you on your ass if you're not careful, hence getting monkeyed.
Most people remember the first time they had a golden monkey.
Oh, very vividly until about a half hour later.
Right. So we're pairing the Golden Monkey with the popcorn, which is a coconut curry popcorn. I fell in love with this popcorn when I tried it, and I'm like, I will find a beer and we will pair this because the coconut curry popcorn is such a great flavor profile. It's insane.
Anything coconut curry is amazing.
Second one we have, the beer is Dogfish Head Midas Touch, which in and of itself is a very unique beer. Mm-hmm. It's called an ancient ale. That doesn't really mean crap. But it's a...
Don't tell Sam Kelly.
But it's such a unique beer because it really just doesn't even taste like beer. So for anybody that hasn't had that, well, we'll talk about that when we come into it. And we're pairing that with a gingerbread popcorn. Or did I do that? Yeah. Midas Touch. I'm sorry. The kettle corn. So we're doing just a traditional kettle corn with the Midas Touch. Then we're going to move on to number 3, which we're going to use Mad Elf from Trogs. And that is a Mad Elf from last year. So there's a year age on it. We actually tried it with an older Mad Elf, but it just didn't work very well. So we're going with the newer one.
So that would be a 2017 Mad Elf.
Correct. It would have been released in 2017. Correct. So the Mad Elf we are pairing with that's the gingerbread popcorn that we have, and the fourth pairing that we have, we're using Free Will COB or their coffee oatmeal brown ale, and we are pairing that with a caramel brown sugar popcorn.
Okay.
So those are the 4 pairings that we've got, and so why don't we just dive right on in?
Sure.
So. Using the Golden Monkey. So let's get a sip of the Golden Monkey to refresh ourselves on what the Golden Monkey tastes like.
Love the sound effects. Should have been a Foley artist.
Some of the most creative people I've ever seen in my life, truly.
Yeah. It tastes like Golden Monkey. I mean, it's...
Right, so what so we can translate that to our listeners in the audience. What are the things that come out when you have just the Golden Monkey by itself?
It's estery, banana-y,
Yep.
fruity, Belgian-y.
Alcoholic.
Yeah, it does. You can taste the booze
Yeah,
in
there's
it.
still a
yeah.
bit of a bite.
Yep. There's some pepperiness in there, a
little bit,
little
yeah.
biscuity
Yeah.
kind of stuff in there too. So, so again, as we have typically done, and for those that maybe have not been listening before, with a pairing, we like to drink the beer first, just to kind of let our palate know what the beer tastes like on its own. And then let's take a couple kernels of the popcorn. So again, this is a coconut curry.
Which smells amazing, by the way.
So the nice thing about this is you can take a piece or two and just get a sense for what the popcorn tastes like. And then, so eat it so you know it, and then put a couple more kernels in your mouth, crunch it up, and somewhat similar to the chocolate, before you swallow all the popcorn, throw the beer on top of it, and then kind of swish it around and then let the two marry up and walk down the road together.
Brings out the booziness a little more.
Yeah, boozier and bubblegummy.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's
you know what?
the-
Yeah.
Yeah, more sugary.
I'm
is-
good at this. I got more taste buds than you.
It is
I just can't always find the words, but
it is so entirely true.
Yeah.
And it probably took Mike and I a good number of tries with a couple different popcorns, and then when we had this one, we're like, there's something there, but it took us probably, I think it was maybe 4 or 5 times until we got that that sweet candy kind of flavor. It's interesting when you think about the individual components, when you think about some of the earthiness and the spice, that why would you get a sweet kind of candy flavor to it? But it happens. But it also reinforces for people that do a tasting that you need to do it a couple times. Because maybe you didn't swish enough, or maybe you didn't have enough popcorn the first time, or you had,
swish enough.
yeah, it's a problem some people have. But you really need to try it a couple times, because sometimes flavors can come and go in literally a snap of a finger, and if you're not paying attention, you miss it.
I haven't gotten it yet. I didn't get the sweetness and the
It's
bubblegum.
okay. Keep trying.
I mean, I'm still getting like banana and estery out of it, but it's just like a more enhanced booziness.
See, for me, it was like bam, right there.
It's just like bam,
Bam.
bam.
Yep.
For me, it was more as soon as Steph said it, I was like, oh, yeah.
And I got sometimes like you're nervous to say what you think it is because I'm like, what if I'm not right?
But there's no wrong thing to say, and that's the I think I've shared the story before where we were doing a tasting, and it was all really heavy beers and heavy chocolates, dark, thick stuff, and somebody's like, "Oh, I taste lime," and like nothing of any of the components would ever give you an indication of lime. I kind of turned around and sort of snickered, like, "Yeah, whatever." I went back to kind of the area where we were prepping stuff, and I tried again. I'm like, holy shit, there was lime.
There's lime.
But it was such a split second, like,
Yeah.
boom, and it was gone.
Wow.
But totally lime. And from that point forward, I never judged what anybody said, because
Yeah.
you just never know how somebody might perceive things, and what, tasting's subjective. We're all different.
Yeah, it could be the first time that we had you. One of the earlier times, you had said, like, everybody could get something different. There's nothing wrong with that. I said something so out of left field, but then after I did, everybody was on board. I don't remember exactly what it was, but like I felt stupid at first.
Yep.
But then everybody else was like, oh my God, yeah, it's there. I guess it's the power of suggestion a little bit.
Sometimes you don't notice it till someone brings it
yeah.
to your attention.
And that's why we don't typically tell what we get out of it until people try it.
Right.
Because I don't want to lead you down
Yeah,
a path.
don't look for
That's why I
something.
say, hey, here's a pairing, and you're going to taste this or that. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, discover it. Don't look for it.
Right.
And I think one thing is that the bubblegum taste, and if I remember from when we did this before, is there's a taste, we just can't put a name on it. And then you named it, and now that's
That's it.
So-
Bubblegum is very much like a flavor. Like, it doesn't taste like
Oh,
anything
yeah.
else.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And there's so many flavors of bubblegum, but that's not what we're talking
But,
about.
like,
We're talking
original
about bubblegum.
bubblegum,
Bubblegum.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we actually mentioned this on the mic, but typically when we've done chocolate and beer pairings, we'll kind of try to mix some of them together or come back to others. But you guys were mentioning that we shouldn't do that with the popcorn, that it's more of a...
You can, because
Progression.
I always encourage everybody to experiment.
Right.
In fact, there is one of these beers that will pair with another popcorn.
Oh.
Oh, damn it, I finished my beer already.
I finished the popcorn.
Not sure. We got plenty of each, but
Don't finish the popcorn.
there is one that, because with one of the beers there were 2 popcorns that actually work kind of well.
There's one that's
Ooh.
a promiscuous beer.
I'm going to say...
or I'm going to actually say that's okay. We can continue to experiment, Steph. That's all right.
I'm going to guess
Right.
it's the COB that works well with others.
Well, we'll
Works
find out.
well with others.
We'll find out.
The elf is too mad. The elf is going to stay in its lane.
I experiment well with others too.
fair.
So the next pairing.
So the next pairing that we have is the Dogfish Head Midas Touch. And again, this is donned in ancient ale. But this is they kind of say it's somewhere between a wine and a mead. And while this is actually a beer, if you kind of taste this blind, you're like, is that really a beer? It's a different taste. And they have some interesting things, and they actually found this recipe in a 2,700-year-old drinking vessel.
So it is ancient.
In the tomb of King Midas, so they say. But there's muscat, grape, saffron, and some honey as well in this, and so the beer is very unique. So let's just take a sip of the Midas Touch beer.
Oh yeah, there's the sweetness.
I haven't had this beer in a very, very long time.
Neither have I.
It's the kind of beer where, like, I don't know if I like it.
Yeah,
like
I
don't
see that.
not
That's
like it.
It's a very fair statement.
Yeah.
But I don't love it.
Like there's a lot of familiar flavors in there, but do they work together in a beer?
It definitely. What is the ABV on it?
It's 9.
I was going to say it's definitely up there because it's sweet.
Yes,
It sounded like a sound effect.
but Wayne, it's interesting. It's interesting you say that too, because this is not something that I buy and keep in my refrigerator.
Yeah.
On like just a general drinking basis.
Yeah.
It's fantastic on a pairing basis, right? And when we talk about pairings in the past too, it's sometimes you may not like the beer by itself,
Right.
Sometimes you may not like the stuff, the popcorn, the chocolate by itself, but then when you put them together, it really creates some new and fun things. And I think this is a beer that's an example of that. The beer's it's okay. It's very, very different, but it's not something I'm just going to sit in my couch and drink. But when you pair it with the right thing, it can do some magic.
So I find it interesting that we are pairing this with kettle corn, which is just like straight standard. Well, not only that,
It's
but
not I mean, I love kettle corn, but
kettle
it's
corn's
nothing.
great.
But compared to all the others, it's
but what I was getting at is that I feel like this beer would just overpower it. I'm obviously wrong, or you wouldn't have put them together.
Why don't we just go ahead and find out?
Let's find out. All right, I'm gonna
Let's stop talking.
Remind myself what kettle corn tastes like.
Yeah. This is very nice kettle corn. I had time to swish.
That's really good popcorn.
It is really good. I feel bad that I just called it meh.
She didn't mean it, Mark.
I didn't mean his kettle corn. I just meant kettle corn in general.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Out of left field again.
Oh.
I get watermelon.
I got like lemon for a second,
It's definitely fruity.
like lemon and pine.
The watermelon, it didn't stick around. It was just
It's
there.
more
It's one of those split
tropical.
second ones. But
It's
I
more
could see
tropical than watermelon.
Melanie.
It's like papaya.
Or
I know
Ashley,
Melanie.
I think it's
or
papaya if I
Tracy.
know what papaya does. Is this what papaya tastes like? I think it's what papaya tastes like.
Is this what papaya tastes
I'm pretty sure it's papaya. I'm pretty sure it's papaya. But I don't know that I've ever actually had a real papaya. That's why I'm saying that. But you know how you have papaya flavoring and things?
The other interesting thing with this one is there is a definite moment of some sweetness, some fruitiness, some
Tropical,
citrus,
sweet fruit.
but then there's another layer where it goes away, and we get this kind of
the popcorn really comes out when that tropical fruitiness goes away.
it's like a really buttery Chardonnay kind of taste.
Yeah.
But with a little brown sugar too.
So it's just like it's not like any Chardonnay you've ever had, but like this really kind of, I don't say thick, but just a very buttery, not crisp Chardonnay.
Dude, the popcorn's even better now that I've had the beer.
I think the popcorn does get enhanced, but it's already really
it's
good
way
kettle
more
corn.
flavorful now.
The first time I tried it, I ate the popcorn, swished it around, whatever, then drank the beer. And I got the fruitiness that you were talking about, the watermelon, the papaya. Then I did it again, put the popcorn in my mouth, and had the beer while the popcorn was still in my mouth. And then I got what you were talking about. And what we had, I think that's what we found before,
Right.
was like a dry kind of white wine, Chardonnay taste.
Yes.
So that's interesting.
It's just it really goes from one end to the other with this.
I think the importance of this one, though, is you can't do too much of the beer with the popcorn. Because
Yeah.
it's such a powerful beer. Like, I took little sips each time.
I took a pretty big sip the first time when I said like lemon and pine, and I think that's because it was getting like the alcohol.
Yeah.
It does make the popcorn more buttery.
Yeah, I can see it.
I took a lot less beer on that one as well. Mm-hmm. It's just amazing how it's so very different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to try the opposite. I'm going to do a big sip then.
I dare you.
No, I dropped the popcorn.
I need to have more restraint with my popcorn like you do.
I finished both of these already. They're so good.
They are so good. I have a little bit left.
So is the kettle corn bag like empty?
Oh, is it really? Oh, shit.
Save a few kernels.
Too late. Well,
You might have to save some, steal some from Dan.
I got a couple here too.
I have
So
that much left.
I got some extra.
You should have warned us. Don't eat so much of your popcorn.
It's so good, though.
Let's move on. What do you say?
Yeah.
I'm excited for this one.
I'm excited because I vividly remember the first time we had a man elf pairing with you. And we bring that up every
I
episode.
still
but-
to this day tell people about it.
That's the one that really, if somebody's super skeptical, when I tell them about, I do beer and chocolate, they give me that the fuzzy eye, like beer and chocolate, really? Mm-hmm. This is the pairing.
Yep.
That will make you be like, okay, you're for real. This is the one, and for those, if you take a Mad Elf and you pair it with Hershey Special Dark.
Oh, it's so good.
Super simple. Kind of just like with this last one, we're like, oh, kettle corn. It's not really crazy. No, there's Special Dark. Special Dark's just Hershey Special Dark.
Yeah.
But when you put Special Dark with Mad Elf from Trogs, it is a true mouthgasm.
It's incredible.
It's literally like a cherry cordial transforms in your mouth, and it is unbelievable.
Do you remember what year Mad Elf it was?
When we did it.
Well,
we recorded with you in January of 2014.
We had a couple
for that
different
one.
ones.
So
Well,
it would have been
I would have given you two different ones. I
Oh,
would have given you a new one and an
was
old one.
probably
Yeah.
2013. Would have been the new one.
And
So
then I
it's 20.
and I would have given you one that
Because
was
it's
probably
always different.
and I would have given you one that was probably 3 years old. Because
Yeah.
older Mad Elf, I believe, gets a lot better with age.
Yeah.
And about 3 years is like the prime. Actually, 7 or 8 was pretty good too. Once you get beyond that, it's still drinkable and good, but just it starts to definitely fade. But Mad Elf gets better with age. So if you don't like Mad Elf, buy
get
it.
outta here.
No, buy it again, but sit on it for a year, because the difference of 1 year is pretty
Yeah,
significant.
let it mellow out a little.
It mellows out. The booziness goes
Yeah.
away. Just really chills out. But anyway, so let's go to pairing number 3. So we've got the
Yes.
Mad Elf.
Yeah, we do.
Mad Elf from Trogs. And this is their Belgian Strong Dark Ale. It's has anybody been elfed in this room? And I think we probably all have at some
Yep.
point or another. This is a boozy beer that usually comes out around the holidays. And honey, cherry, a lot of malt base to it. So let's just take a sip of the Mad Elf.
Oh, it's so good.
Again,
I will never forget. I think it was the Batdorf served me a Mad Elf in a pint glass.
Come on. Are you for real?
Oops.
Oh, my gosh.
Yep.
I was served a Stella in a pint glass.
Really?
They have
Which is
like
not quite as bad.
They have
No,
a
but-
4-glass limit on those, by the way. So this is a year old, so the heat from the alcohol's gone
Yeah.
for the most part.
Yeah, you get a lot of the flavor and not a lot of the heat.
Right.
Yeah. It's
So you
definitely like syrupier, sweeter.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit, definitely get the good cherry and the honey. But again, there's very faint heat with this one. It's pretty much gone, I would say.
Taste the meat,
Yeah.
not the heat.
And the popcorn we got going on with it is the gingerbread.
Yes.
So, and I believe the base of the popcorn is kettle, and then they put the gingerbread.
God.
A lot of these
my
popcorns,
God.
their base is kettle, and then they add the flavor on top of that. And I believe this was the case with this one too. But this is their gingerbread.
So I like about the popcorn, before we even do the pairing, is that it's got the great gingerbread flavor, but it's not super sweet. It's got more of like an herbal spiciness.
Yeah,
to it.
but at the same time, at the end, I got a little bit of chocolate out of it, which means I really think this will play well with the Mad Elf.
Don't eat too much of your popcorn because I have
Right. Trying.
I have an idea.
Trying not to. All right, let's do it.
Oh yeah, because it's gone. So save your gingerbread.
Oh, god damn, there it is.
Do you have a gasm?
Oh, already.
You're welcome.
It's almost like it's extra cherry flavor, but with a
Oh,
little bit
yeah.
of cinnamon on top
Oh
of it.
yeah.
And
oh
like
yeah.
hazelnut. I got a little
This
hazelnut.
beer is like the perfect
Oh
fucking
my
pairing
God,
beer.
yeah,
How
it
do
is.
they do it?
It really is.
It is. You hit. That's exactly what I got.
I think it's more that we are good at finding pairings.
And now
Yeah, Mike, that is a great point.
it's like cinnamon toast crunch in my mouth.
Oh,
Ooh,
yeah.
that's well called right there.
Yep. That's what you get at the end. It's cherries and cinnamon, and then cinnamon toast crunch.
Cinnamon toast crunch.
Good times. Back when cereal was good.
It's got homemade taste.
Man, I thought I had a beer that would pair really well with this, but I don't think it's going to be as good as this.
Oh, take your best kernel of it.
Your best kernel.
Looks like it has like the most powder on it.
Yep.
And just a tiny sip.
Oh,
My
What did I keep dropping them on the floor?
Oh,
it's like one of those cookies. Like is it
Ginger
like
snap.
no? Well, yeah, but also like one of the ones where the
Snickerdoodle?
thing where you put the nut on top of it.
Pecan sandies?
Yeah,
Mm,
tastes like a pecan sandy.
wow.
that's so good.
God damn.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
Uh-huh. See?
Yeah.
Just a
that's
little
nice.
bit together packs a hell of a punch.
I just wanted to keep naming cookies for like 20 minutes.
Oreo.
Good call.
So I was going to say I thought the Anchor Christmas ale would go well with this, but
Ooh. I could
have
see that
one.
working pretty well.
Can I take over the segment for 5 seconds?
Do we really have a choice?
No.
When I'm here,
Not when it's Steph, you don't.
I only have one bottle down. I have another one upstairs if we need it, but just a tiny sip, just to see what it does. This is 2018. So, boys and
We're all
girls,
good.
let's take a sip of the beer first.
Steph, it's like
don't,
you've done this
Don't
before.
forget to clean your palate.
It tastes super earthy after having
say.
that Mad Elf.
Yeah, it does.
All right, here we go.
The bar's pretty high here, Steph.
Oh no! I never said it was going to be better. I just thought it'd be good.
I'm not really digging it. My first thought was dirt or potting soil.
Well, that's a flavor.
That's a 3.
Yeah, that is.
You know, I was cleaning out the closet the other day and I found a bag of potting soil. Why the fuck did we get
Okay.
a bag of potting soil?
I'm not saying this to bust on Steph, but to laugh at what Wayne says. It really kind of does taste
It
like
does.
potting
It's
soil.
super earthy. It's super earthy. Like the beer is very earthy, but the popcorn makes it even more earthy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, potting soil is a flavor, though,
Can't
so
all be
that's
a winner.
good.
It's a good idea, though.
Can't
Good
all
beer.
be a winner.
Well, that's kind of the fun that I think we have when we're trying this stuff is I'm trying something, Greg's trying something different, and then good or bad, I'm like, hey, Greg, try this. Tell me what you get. So we're not even sharing anything.
Without even any emotion, just try this. It's like, oh, is he making me taste something really shitty,
Yeah.
or is this a good one? And we got one.
Here, smell this, I promise.
Oops.
That's what she said.
So you call your,
Hey.
your tasting face as opposed to your poker face.
Well, now back to the regularly scheduled program.
Back to the race. So that was the Mad Elf and the gingerbread popcorn, and then the fourth one that we have brought forth to you is Free Will.
Now, this is interesting because of these 5 beers, this is by far my favorite of these 5 beers.
Same.
Yeah.
So, like, I worry that since I already love this beer so much without pairing it with anything, like, will the pairing, like, not be as exciting? Like, I love Mad Elf, don't get me wrong, but COB is...
COB is
I don't know
pretty
about you.
awesome.
I'm real eager to see what happens with this.
So just simply keep an open mind, a fresh slate in your mind, and we'll see what happens.
Good advice.
Which is why I tell everybody that comes to a tasting, just keep an open mind. You may say, oh, I don't like dark beers, or I don't like this kind of beer, or I don't like this kind of flavor. Just keep an open mind because it really, there's a lot of things that come out of this that you wouldn't expect.
I don't
So
even have
good.
to put it to my lips.
So
It's so good.
as we were saying, the beer for pairing number 4 is Free Will COB, which is their coffee oatmeal brown ale. Personally, it's one of my personal favorites.
Yeah.
I use this a lot in my beer and chocolate pairings as well. It's just a phenomenal beer. So let's all grab a little sip of the COB.
Don't chug it.
I already beat you to it.
There's just so many things going on with this beer. I mean, you have to like coffee because there's a lot of coffee presence here. There's some good, some graham. There's some chocolate. There's
Little
some good
nuttiness.
little roasted nutty
Yep.
kind of malty flavor in
Oh, yeah.
there, and it's a phenomenal beer. All right, so the popcorn, as
Yeah.
we had mentioned, is the caramel brown sugar popcorn.
Did you just put these together because they both
It's
have the
so
word brown
good.
in them?
It's a place to start, at least.
Wow! Popcorn's good.
That's a good popcorn. Well, I think Steph was the first to dive in. She's looking at the can.
It makes the beer seem way boozier.
It does. Ooh, there's something else in the back end.
That's what she said.
The coffee comes out way more. And it tastes boozier. And then there's like this lingering thing in the back of my throat.
It's called a uvula.
No. You get it?
That's what he
it's
said.
like It's almost like a syrupy feeling. I have a pleasant warmth in my mouth. Thanks for that.
Well played.
It's almost like the feeling of if the beer is syrupy, but it's not at all.
So just do it again. No, seriously, just do it again and just kind of see, get some other stuff in there and validate it's what you have. Or
There's some other stuff in there.
I get the like slightly more booziness, but I think it's also a little bit of like cinnamon coming forward, like a spicy cinnamon.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Or like, it's more than cinnamon though.
Cinnamon plus.
Yeah, but it's like, what are the
Is
more?
that an Aldi or?
Probably.
It's a spice like cinnamon, but not one that's as well known as cinnamon.
nutmeg?
No,
Cardamom?
I was going to say cardamom.
Yeah. Yeah, if that's what this tastes is.
There is like a
I started off strong, guys, and I'm just...
almost like a slightly savory, like sweet curry kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes me want to try the curry with it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So one of the things that, and nobody's kind of said it, and maybe it's just, there's a, and I got it again in it, but again, we had it, so there's a very much a campfire smokiness comes out of this. There's a,
the smoke.
there's a smoke, there's burnt, but not in a bad burnt way.
Yeah,
like, because
yeah.
I can't stand things that are burnt. I can't stand that flavor.
A slightly singed toasted marshmallow
Yeah.
over a
Correct.
fire. Yeah.
There's this kind of smoky burnt campfire, but again, not in a bad way.
I went off book, and I tried the COB with the gingerbread, and I highly recommend you all do that.
But don't eat all the popcorn.
I didn't.
So I did the COB with
That's right. You went with the curry then.
the curry.
Yeah,
That's
I
like
wanna try that.
Christmas.
And I got like a big cinnamon spicy flavor. Not curry, but it was more like cinnamon. That's
Interesting. I'm digging Dan's COB and gingerbread.
expecting it
Pretty
to be
good.
The curry is really good with it. I like.
Can I
that.
have? Do you have some curry left?
Yeah.
Because I'm all out. Can I try that? Yeah.
The gingerbread with the COB is like Christmas.
Yeah.
It tastes like Christmas
Yeah.
morning. Or at least what everyone wishes Christmas morning tastes like.
Right.
Regret.
I said what they wished.
nothing wrong with eating popcorn and drinking beer at 8 a.m. in the morning while people are opening presents.
Yeah, the COB and the curry does have like a big hit of like a cinnamony
Yeah.
kind of thing,
Oh, yeah. That's nice.
like intense.
I like that.
I prefer it. The caramel is really good. The gingerbread's really good with it.
I kind of want to try this harpoon beer though with this caramel.
The Christmas beer. Oh no,
The coffee.
So we
Wrong brewery.
we talked about this beer a lot when it was first announced because we all love coffee and I freaking love Harpoon Brewery. Till the day I die, it will always be the most special brewery ever to me.
Why?
And because it's where I fell in love with craft beer.
Oh, really? I didn't know
Legit,
that.
yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
And I freaking love Boston. But our dearest friend James got his hands on some for us before it was in PA. It's now in PA, so if you people want it, you can go get it. But we got it first, and I've been waiting for.
we had it before it was
We
cool.
got it first. We've consumed it prior to this moment, but we've been saving a few bottles to actually drink on air since we talked about it so much. I felt like we should, but I feel like this is a good time because I think it would pair nicely with this.
I think this is a perfect
caramel.
time.
Of course, I'm 0 for 1 so far, so we'll see.
Again, dirt, potting soil is a flavor.
That is a 1 + 1 = 3.
It certainly was. There is not dirt or potting
it
soil.
didn't
in
say 3
either of
had to
those-
be good.
Exactly.
This beer on its own is really good.
Yeah, it is nice.
I don't know that it reminds me
It's no-
specifically of a Dunkin' coffee, but it is a very heavily coffee flavored beer.
I wonder because
no
I'm
COB.
not. I love Dunkin' Donuts coffee. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not someone that's like I will only drink Dunkin'.
Right.
So I wonder if someone that is like a diehard Dunkin' fan, like if they would be able to taste this and say, yes, that's definitely Dunkin' coffee.
805-991 beer.
Let us know.
You won't. You're like that.
Trying real hard.
So friends, let's taste the beer first.
I already have.
Wow, that's very espresso coffee.
It's really astringent.
Yes, like
In a good way.
Like oh yeah,
Very
very good
astringent.
way. Like very like almost literally like you just dropped in coffee beans.
Yep.
Yeah. Dark and rich.
So it's not
Which,
like
if
a-
you're gonna call it Dunkin', I mean,
That's
it better be
that's
Dunkin'.
that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
How that is that way.
And you better be dunking those beans in that beer.
You and Mike should start a YouTube channel. Now take your popcorn of choice.
So which one are we doing? Are you doing the caramel?
I'm doing the caramel.
Do whatever.
I did the caramel. I don't think I like it.
Yeah, but shut your mouth.
It tasted burnt.
Because you already got a good. That's the.
It tastes like a Roush beer. No, you're totally right.
I really wanted it to taste like a caramel macchiato.
I'm not sad about this, though.
Actually, I was getting more of like that burnt marshmallow we were talking about earlier, but like a little bit more burnt.
Yeah. Oh, Lucky Charms. I just got Lucky Charms. I just got fucking Lucky Charms. I'm sorry. Please don't choke. No, legit, when you said marshmallows, I'm like, it tastes like Lucky Charms in my mouth. It's a Roush beer and then Lucky Charms.
With which popcorn?
The
caramel?
Yeah.
It's all smoky, and then like I put a crap ton of popcorn in my mouth, and then once like the beer's gone, the remaining popcorn tastes like Lucky Charms, or to normal people, marshmallows. Well, really sugary marshmallows.
The curry one cuts the little bitterness of the coffee.
Do you get the cinnamon again?
A little bit.
A little bit. Do we want to try this one too?
Actually, yeah, that does cut a lot of the bitterness. That's
It does.
really good.
Do we want to try that one or the?
We're trying another one. I am legit.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
I'm legit almost out of all my popcorn.
Same.
I'm going to give a shout out to my favorite beer shop, if I may. Because actually, which is where I buy pretty much all my beer moving forward, or for my tastings. Actually, it's where I buy pretty much everything. And if you guys have not been there, I highly recommend it. It's the Beer and Beverage Shop in Lancaster. So it's right off the Fruitville Pike. There's a place called Save Mart. Yeah. Save Mart's like a kind of a drugstore kind of thing. But anyway, it's right around the corner from there. It's by the, also a place called At Home, the home goods store. It's called the Beer and Beverage Shop. It is the single best place from a variety of beer perspective in the area. And the guy that owns, his name is Kenny. He's awesome. He will give you insight. You walk in there, hey, what should I try? What do you got? No, the selection is the greatest that I've ever seen anywhere in Pennsylvania. So if you guys are down in the area, seriously check it out. Beer and Beverage Shop.
I've ever been there.
It's worth this. Even the single selection is awesome. So it's pretty much everything that's in a case you can get in a 6-pack, or you can get a single of cold.
Unreal.
Nice.
Unreal.
At a good price.
Okay, so
I've actually never had this vanilla COB before.
do we tell people? Do the people know with the ears?
We did not.
People with the ears. Dan's going to tell you.
People with the ears. This is a variant of this beer that I didn't even know existed.
You didn't know this existed?
I didn't. It's a vanilla COB. I love vanilla. Vanilla's incredible.
I love COB.
I do too. I haven't tried the beer on its own yet.
Two great tastes that taste great together.
Oh, man.
That is legit delicious. Which popcorn are we doing?
Holy fuck.
Hopefully gingerbread, because that's the only one I got left.
I have
it doesn't matter. Just
there is some here. There's
I
the
was gonna say whatever's
caramel.
left
There's
in
a
the
little
bags.
bit.
Mike's got a lot left.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I just I saw the vanilla COB and I thought let's bring that along. See if we can just kind of throw a little.
If you do the caramel one, it kind of takes away the vanilla, but brings out like an extra nuttiness.
You know what? That burnt smoky flavor, not there. Once everything's kind of gone and digested, some of that comes back. But with the vanilla, that smokiness is gone.
Hey, I just want to say, screw the popcorn. This beer is really good.
The beer is goddamn great.
But popcorn's really good too.
Try it again because the smokiness is gone.
Yeah.
It comes back when everything's kind of gone and digested. But
Ooh, oh God, try it with gingerbread. Holy God.
You don't have to tell me twice.
That's what's so fun about this whole thing.
Oh my God, that's great.
I feel like anything will go with this gingerbread popcorn.
Maybe not an IPA.
I'd still try it.
Should I break out my beer? So we are now passing around Anamorphous from Collusion Tapworks in New York, who, breaking news, by the way, is opening a second location in Lancaster.
No.
Yay!
He
For real?
just announced it last night. Date to be announced and location to be announced, but they are coming to Lancaster, so that's really exciting.
Hold on. Collusion's coming to Lancaster.
on Beer
Collusion
Busters.
is that was you, buddy.
I was going to say, he didn't even notice it.
Lancaster County, he says.
No, I thought he said Lancaster. Whatever. Lancaster/Lancaster County. But he's coming closer to us. And they just released today Anamorphous, one of their IPAs. And we're going to, because we also have this Buffalo popcorn.
From Shaler.
it's Buffalo popcorn, right?
It's buffalo
From-
popcorn with blue cheese and gorgonzola.
From Shaler Brewing Company, who is literally like 2 miles down the road from the Beer Busters podcast basement.
2.2.
2.2. And we are recording there coming up in a couple months. So
Yes, we are.
that's going to be awesome.
I really just want to eat more of this popcorn.
It's definitely a hazy IPA. I don't know. Maybe this will change our minds about these kind of IPAs.
I mean, beer's good.
Holy crap, Rich, you need to try this popcorn.
There's Buffalo Gorgonzola, right?
So it's according to the menu, it's buffalo dust, some hot sauce dust. It was blue cheese dust, I believe, and then there was actual chunks of gorgonzola in the actual chunks of gorgonzola. And I'm telling you, we just ordered it to go. We're like, hey, we're doing a popcorn tasting tonight at the podcast. Why don't we bring it along? Mike and I opened it up while we're sitting at Shaler, and we're like, oh my god,
It's so good.
like we got to close this, or it will be gone before we even get there. So complete thumbs up to Shaler for their buffalo blue cheese gorgonzola
Okay.
popcorn.
So
Hold on, Wayne's got something going on over there.
So
I think his pants got tight.
it's one of the like it turned into like stinky, funky Parmesan-y cheese, where like almost at first I was like, ugh. But then like it became more like a super like really pungent, which I like, but is like a little bit abrasive at first.
yeah, the only thing though, because of all the extra cheese on top of it, the popcorn has definitely softened a bit, and I think that affects the ability to pair the two a little bit, if that makes sense.
I'm sorry, I was not paying attention.
I
because
wish
that
the
beer
popcorn
is
was-
really good.
I wish the popcorn was crispier.
Well, we knew that was going to be kind of
Yeah.
a problem with the real cheese
Because
they
of the
stuck
cheese
it.
on
Yeah.
top. So I'd be curious to have this without the extra cheese on top to pair it. Because I feel like the crispier the popcorn is, like the others were, I don't know, I just felt like it melded better. But I do agree that you get a lot more of like this pungent,
Yeah, it's like super
cheesy,
funky foot sweat cheese.
which you can get that pungy cheesiness from a hazy New England IPA. So it makes sense that these two things together would create that.
It cuts out a lot of the spiciness too from the Buffalo.
It does. Oh, I get that
Yeah,
funk. That
yeah. It's like you said. It's like a good Parmesan.
yeah. There's definitely
like a
good-
really like sharp Swiss even.
Yeah.
Well, we can't have an episode of Beer Busters in the basement specifically without a little bit of Happy Fun Time game. So, what do you say, Wayne?
Hold up, I'm looking on my phone what I'm supposed to say. Full disclosure, this game was originally put together to be played at our last podcast recording when we were at Root Down with representatives from Root Down Brewing, Tired Hands Brewing, and East Branch Brewing, where we had 1 million people on the show and drank a lot of beer, so we never got around to the game. So we're playing it today.
Oh my God, that episode.
Oh my God. Cheers, Internet, and welcome to Happy Fun Time Games, a podcast trivia segment that critics have described as being in audio format. Today, we are playing everyone's favorite Happy Fun Time game, Libation or Fabrication.
I got a hot piece.
But this is a music-themed edition. So all of these beers are music puns of one sort or another.
No, not more puns.
Generally speaking. Oh, just you wait. So we will begin in time-honored tradition to my left. If you don't know how to play this game by now, go back and listen to another episode because we're probably playing this game on it. We'll begin to my left with Dan, and our first beer of the game is Whitney Brewston. Is that real or fake?
That's I'm going to go with my gut. That's fake.
Dan is saying that is fake.
Real.
Steph's saying real. Greg,
Oh, that's real. It's got to be real.
gotta be real. And finally,
No,
Mike.
that's fake.
Oh, wow. Bookending it with fakes. They are wrong. It is, in fact, real. It is a coffee stout with vanilla and cinnamon from Fort Rock Brewing in Rancho Cordova, California. They say of this liquid tribute to Miss Houston, one sip of this stout will provoke another, and by the bottom of the glass, you just might be inspired to pen a love letter and rewatch The Bodyguard.
Wow, that's what I got a description.
Moving on to Steph, who's going to guess first on our next
Crap, I
beer
got popcorn in
of
my
the
mouth.
game. Hurry up and chew and swallow. Our next
So
beer
hot.
is called Bob Barley and the Whiners. Is that real or fake?
What's the real thing referring to? Bob Marley
And
and
the
the Whalers.
Whalers.
The Whiners? It could be a wine barrel aged beer, I guess. I'll say real, whatever.
And Steph's saying real
I think
after
that's Too far of a stretch. I'm going. It's false.
All
yes,
right.
I'm going negative.
Oh, all right. Fake. Finally, Dan.
Going fake as well.
Oh, and the fakes have it because
Damn
it
it.
is, in fact, fake. Bob Barley is the name of a porter by Visa Baba Brewing in Croatia. But I figured why not
It's a
take
great
it
brewery.
a little.
But I like this because now I
extra
don't
step.
have to think about what to name my next homebrew.
There you go. I like to help.
Nice.
Moving on to our next beer of the game, and Greg is going to guess first on this one, and this beer is called Beasts of Bourbon.
Oh, God.
Is that
Absolutely, yeah, it's real.
Absolutely, unequivocally real.
Definitely real.
Oh, definitely real, says Mike. Dan.
I'm going to say adequately real.
Adequately real, and finally, Steph.
I'm going to say neutrally real.
Neutrally real. Everybody's saying real. Everybody is correct.
Hey.
Give me this time around a blend of 2 barrel-aged beers from Liquid Mechanics Brewing in Lafayette, Colorado. Russian Imperial Stout aged in Spirit Hounds Distillery bourbon barrels for 11 months, blended with 2015 American barley wine aged in Breckenridge Distillery bourbon barrels for 11 months. A lot of beer, a lot of bourbon. Dan would probably like that
A
one.
lot of months.
A lot of months. Many, many moments. Moving on to our 4th beer of the game, and Mike is going to guess first on this one, and this one is called Another One Bites the Must. Is that real or fake?
Not real.
That, no. Let's hope not.
All right, let's hope not. Saying fake, hopefully. Dan?
I kind of say I hope so. I want it to be real.
All right, Dan saying real.
I
Steph?
feel like if it was real, I would have heard about it. So I'm going to say fake.
All right, Steph is saying fake, and finally Greg. Real head scratcher.
We can edit
I'm
this.
gonna go real.
Saying real. Everyone who said real is correct.
Fuck.
Which is everyone.
I always say real, and the one time I don't say
The
real.
one time you don't. I was thinking that as you said it.
Damn it.
It is a tart, bone-dry Pinot Noir wheat ale aged with orange zest from Peter B's Brew Pub in Monterey, California. Flavors of grapes, raspberries,
Hippies.
jasmine, honey, orange blossom, and machine guns ready to go.
Machine Gun Kelly's?
Like how he put his hands up like he was done. Like that's
No, to be fair.
I'm going out on a
He
high
was
note.
pulling up his
I was
sleeves.
rolling my sleeves up at the same time.
Always leaving wanting more.
It's all about efficiency tonight.
Yes, that one was real. And we are swinging back around to Dan. I have a lot of names. That's why I'm trying to move fast. Dan's going to guess first on this one. This one is called LL Brew J.
Wow.
Yes, I want it. Real,
real, so-
real,
I
real,
know.
real, real.
Oh, Steph's saying real. Dan's saying real. Greg's the only one I haven't heard.
False.
False.
What?
Oh.
Real. Absolutely real.
Everybody said real is correct.
Yes, I want it.
It is real. It is an Imperial IPA by Track
Oh, never
7
mind.
Brewing Company in Sacramento, California, which they described as having notes of driving down El Camino Boulevard in a 6'4 Impala.
Nice.
I-
Okay,
I would just like to
I'll
point
try
out that California, which most of these breweries come from, have legal marijuana. So maybe that's where these names are coming from.
It's more than a little
Sometimes
likely.
being drunk is not enough.
Sometimes. Moving on to Steph, who's going to guess first on our
Real.
next beer of the game. And this one is called I Can't Get No Attenuation.
Oh,
Real.
my God.
And it has to be a New England IPA.
No way.
It's
No
a
way.
New England IPA.
Greg
False.
saying fake. Mike,
False. No way.
no way. And finally, Dan.
Same thing as well. It's too much of a stretch.
Yep.
Once again, Steph is wrong because that one is fake. Not a name you would think you would want to use, but you could just call it hazy
It
and
could be
unfiltered.
any New England IPA.
Yeah, people just line up around the block. Moving on.
Just put orange juice in a can.
In a can. Greg is going to guess first on the next one, and our next beer of the game is entitled 21 Pilot Batches.
Come on.
Oh, is that even allowed?
Sure, I'm gonna go yes.
All right, saying that's real. Mike,
That's too lame. Nope.
too lame, saying fake. Dan.
I hate anything and everything having to do with them, so fake.
All right, so F that.
Fake.
And fake. Everybody who said fake is correct.
Yay!
It
They don't
is
deserve a
indeed
beer.
Too lame. It is
I
so
feel
lame.
like it's just not right.
It is so lame that I didn't craft a follow-up statement. Moving on to our 8th but not final beer of the game. There's one more
Oh.
after this. Mike is going to guess first on
Yes.
this one. And this one is called Prost Malone.
Nice.
Oh, man.
Nice.
As much as I would hate it, yes, it's probably true.
I hope it's real.
Saying it's real, Dan.
I think I'm going to say real as well.
Real.
Steph's
I'm going
saying
real.
Everybody's saying real. Everybody is correct.
Hey.
It is real. Pale yellow in color with a slight
course.
grain smell and a slightly bitter finish could describe either the Czech Pilsner from Old Republic Brewery or the rhinestone cowboy who looks like he crawled out of a primordial swamp of nacho cheese. What? For which it is named. That quote was stolen from a Washington Post
You
review
sent me that article.
of the inaugural Posty Fest
Oh,
that
God.
you should totally look up on the internet because it is hilarious.
That's great.
Moving on to our final beer of the game.
Final.
You said that like 15 seconds ago, and I already forgot there was another beer.
And Dan's going to guess first
Oh,
on this one.
what?
This last beer is called Biochemical Romance.
I'm a fan of those guys,
Fake.
too.
I almost called you Steph. Dan saying fake.
No, I think that's real.
Steph saying
Fake
real.
Bruce.
I'm going fake.
Greg going fake.
No, it's real.
Mike saying real. It is in fact fake.
There we go.
As an aside, Dogfish did have a beer called Romantic Chemistry.
Yep.
But that one was fake, so I'm going to add up the points real quick here, which is difficult at the moment because actually a lot of people got a lot of things right. Now, Steph's column wasn't that hard.
Fuck you.
Okay, we have
Please.
tied, well, no, not tied, in last place with 4 out of 9 points.
That's not bad.
It's less than half.
Not bad on what scale.
But it was an odd number, so you couldn't get half. You were either going to be below or above. So
Whatever.
you have 4 points. Tied in second place with 6 points each, Greg and Mike. Very respectable showing. Only 3 wrong. With 7 out of 9 correct.
Hey, 7 of 9.
7 of 9. Dan, 7 points. Very good job. Very good job, everyone, except Steph. This is, of course, the part of the podcast where we shout out to our most generous patrons on Patreon, a couple of whom are in the room this evening. We would like to thank from the bottom of our hearts the following individuals for helping us keep this show on the road. James Lamberg.
Oh, my God.
Joe Mansell.
I have a pleasant warmth in my mouth.
Eric Dixon.
Gonna go back in time.
Nate
my
Foxman.
favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Brian Mills.
I just shoved something in my garret.
I just listened to all that stuff from that night. That was a good episode.
Where was I? Wolfgang von Koltz.
Sprinter Dan.
Jen McDonnell.
Fucking A right.
Marilyn Engelman.
Come on, Barbie. Let's go party.
Josh Price.
Wee heavy.
Ron McDonnell.
And stuff.
And Victoria Miles. If you want to get on this list, along with other behind-the-scenes perks and access to our exclusive bonus podcast, Last Call, go to patreon.com/beerbusters to sign up to become a patron.
There's some good last calls on there right now, guys.
The last couple
Legit.
were pretty good, yeah.
Legit.
I think most of them are pretty good.
Yeah, but we're getting even better.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, as for now, I feel like we got to settle up our bar tab.
Yeah, we owe a lot of money.
Say, Yvonne, remember when I said I'd have to send away to NASA to calculate your bar tab?
Oh, yeah. We all had a good laugh, Mo.
The results came back today. You owe me $70 billion.
As somebody with a bad back, I certainly appreciate a good night's sleep. And that's why I want to tell you, the good listeners of Beer Busters, about Casper. Casper is an obsessively engineered mattress at shockingly fair prices. It's got just the right sink and just the right bounce. There's 2 technologies. It is made from latex foam and memory foam. They come together for a life well slept. You get your risk-free trial and a return-free policy, and you can try Casper for 100 days, all with free shipping, painless returns, and you can get $50 towards any mattress purchase by going to CasperTrial.com/beerbusters and using the promo code 50SLEEP, 50SLEEP. Terms and conditions do apply.
No, your beers. No, your beers.
Hey, Steph, what's up?
So when I found out that Greg was going to lead us in a popcorn and beer pairing this evening, I became very curious about the best beers to pair with salty foods. So it was no surprise that as I searched, there was no clear answer, but I thought I'd share some of the interesting stuff that I found. So there was an article on VinePair called "Why Beer Pairs Best with Salty Foods and Wine with Fatty Foods." Well, I didn't read about the wine stuff; that's not important. But they had an interesting section of this article. The heading was "Benefits of Pairing Beer and Salt." So beer and salt go together because bitter and salt go together. Salt neutralizes the bitter elements and lets the taster enjoy the other characteristics in the beer, according to the research from the University City's Monell Chemical Senses Center. Bitter is an important balancing flavor in food today, but it hasn't always been that way. People are naturally averse to bitter tastes. Your palate equates bitter with bad because typically bitter plants meant that plant could kill you. Some plants are just trying to trick us, though. Hops are one of them. Hops have been used in beer to preserve for centuries. Touché. They're so essential that they're even one of the 3 original ingredients in the German purity law, of course, 1516. Today's craft beers can have previously unheard of amounts of hops put in, ratcheting up bitter flavor to what some people consider unpalatable.
Ich bin ein Berliner.
Throw some salty chips in your mouth before and after
bitter.
taking a big swig of beer, and your taste buds will reach a special level of enlightenment.
That's what she said.
Men's Journal recently also published an article about beer and food pairings, and under the section titled Frites and Fried Foods, they suggest that frites, or fries, are light in flavor profile, so they suggest opting for beer that will cleanse your palate. In general, ask for a beer to cleanse your palate without washing away all the salty flavors, cutting through and bringing out the taste of the food. They suggest a Stella Artois. The same recommendation goes for most fried salty dishes. In a pint glass, of course. The Nest.com says to pair acidic beers with salty foods to bring out crisp, clean flavors. Epicurious.com suggests pairing salty foods with stouts. See, we're all over the place here. The Growler, British Columbia's craft beer guide, suggests a Pilsner or West Coast IPA with salty foods. And an article from Business Insider recommends a Helles with things like salty pretzels and a Goza with salty meats. So I had to go, of course, to the man who I feel is the god in this area. I pulled out.
Just call me Greg. Seriously, it's okay.
Well, you don't have a book yet, so I couldn't pull out your book.
Damn it.
So I pulled out the Brewmaster's Table by, of course, Garrett Oliver. And he doesn't have a suggested popcorn pairing, which I kind of thought he would. I'm like, he pairs everything. But he does, however, offer some suggestions for other salty foods. He suggests pairing a brown or pale ale with salted almonds, a well-chilled North German Pilsner with salted anchovies, and a Doppelbock or a Dunkel with walnuts.
Beer and anchovy pairing.
Yeah.
I'll be absent for that one.
Yeah, I'm out for that one too.
There's something fishy about that.
Oh,
man.
We need to open more popcorn.
Beer me! Beer me! Beer me! Beer me!
Round 2, fight.
Pop! Nice. So we're going into our unknown world here, as we often do when Greg is on the show. We have 3 new beers and 3 new popcorns, but we still have the old beers too if we want.
The old popcorns.
So the new beers we have Anchor Steam, which is now in a freaking large-ass can, which is kind of awesome. We have other half Cricket
Pilsner.
They're Pilsner. And then we have
Connecticut Valley.
Dark beer, which I forget what it is already. I'm really stuck on this up.
It's Connecticut Valley. Oh, they have it, I think.
Connecticut Valley Coffee.
Oh, yeah, that's
beer.
Connecticut Valley Coconut Stout, Coffee Stout Obsession.
Yes.
We got it. Third time's the charm.
Yep.
And the popcorns are, Greg?
So we have 3 additional pops. So this is all still stuff from the Pop Shop, but just ones that we didn't have in our official pairing. So we have it's called Spicy Lime Hot Mess.
Which we should probably save for last, I'm thinking.
It's spicy, so it's gonna have an impact on the palate. We have a Killa crab. That's Killa.
Oh.
Not killer. Killa crab.
I spelled it the proper way.
Both with a K. And then we have a garlic parm.
Yeah.
So spicy lime hot mess, Killa crab, and a garlic parm. And again, the spicy one's spicy.
So I'm thinking the coffee one should pair with probably one of the popcorns we've already have, because I don't think that's going to pair very well with one of the new
I'm going to try the coffee with the spicy lime.
But that could work.
Oh, God.
I'm thinking the garlic parm and the Pilsner may be interesting.
Yes, that is actually exactly where I was
So
going
I think you
first.
should try the spicy and the stout.
Fine, I'll do it.
Fine.
The spicy and the stout might actually be good. Sorry.
Props to other half. That Cricket Pilsner is really tasty.
It is delicious.
Popcorn's more limey than spicy. No, there's the spicy.
I was going to say,
kidding.
hold on. I was going to say,
Just
hold on, Dan.
kidding.
Hold on, Dan.
That's why I might go
It
well
kinda-
with the Pilsner.
Kind of. That's good too. Kind of sneaks up on you there a little bit.
It's not like a super duper spice.
It's more like a sneak up on you peppery spice in a way. If only you could see his facial expression.
It tastes like bad milk. Oh God!
Wait, there's. It's like unicorn magic. I don't know how to describe this taste.
Dear listeners, I could only wish you could see. He's almost hyperventilating right now.
That was so bad. That was so fucking bad.
And that was the stout and the
The
spicy
stout
one.
and the spicy lime. They're both good on their own. Together, it tastes like
That was
sour milk.
1 + 1 = -3.
Oh God!
Like
1 + 1 = shotgun.
I need to try it. Just it's like a train wreck. You got to look.
Yeah.
Be my guest. Try it.
The Pilsner and the garlic parm are really good. It's like unicorn dust when you put them together. I don't know how else to describe it. It's like this just bright, like
Yeah, I don't know what it is either.
magical,
like.
yeah, it's just unicorn dust. That's the first thing.
Oh, that
comes to mind.
Pilsner is real good after that shit I just had.
The Pilsner's amazing.
But still, 1 + 1 = 3 doesn't mean it's going to be good.
Not a good 3.
Yeah.
Could be, topsoil.
I'd rather topsoil.
Was it really that bad?
Oh, it was so bad.
I gotta try it.
Did anyone else do the garlic and the Pilsner yet?
Doing it now.
It's like so bright and like you feel like you're floating. Right? Am I crazy?
I don't feel like I'm floating, but yeah,
I don't
it's
know about
bright.
floating. I actually think it's really good with the steam beer.
I just farted a little, so I kind of floated off my seat. So
That's fair.
does that count?
That's fair. All right,
See, I thought the steam beer would go well with the spicy beer.
spicy popcorn.
I mean, spicy popcorn. Oh, the crab. I forgot about the crab.
Killa crab.
What is it? What makes it killer?
Ooh, it does really work with the steam.
Which one?
The garlic parm.
Old Bay is so magical.
oh, that is pretty awful. Dan.
Did you just do the spicy
It is pretty
I'm
awful.
doing it right
spicy
now.
lime? Yeah.
Yeah.
It tastes like sour milk, right?
I went light because I was worried, so like it's not like hitting me quite as bad. But
And
yeah,
I don't want
it
to
was a
badmouth
weird-
the beer or the popcorn. Just don't do them
like
together.
a weird curdled kind of thing going on.
So the Pilsner and the crab.
See?
I was
See?
gonna say, watch
Greg
out.
gets it.
Greg's
Greg
gonna
gets
love it. Watch.
Why didn't we not film that, by the way?
We should've.
How many people have to do this before we film one of us?
That's gross.
Yeah.
It is pretty good.
See?
Like really gross.
Yeah.
Like
It is
not
like-
pleasant at all.
Not in the least.
It's like sour milk and like cut grass.
Oh.
Oh, I was going to say sour milk.
Mike,
and like
you know
toe
you
jam.
wanna.
I know. Well, you guys sold me on it, so
Are you gonna do
I'm
it?
good. No,
Oh,
I'm fine.
I
I'm
was gonna
fine.
film you. I'm not doing it.
Would you say anchor seam and the which one?
I did the Pilsner and the crab, and it really, it really accentuated the Old Bay.
It's
even
like
more.
it's like crab with like lemon.
Oh yeah.
Or like a lemon
the
herb.
Pilsner just
fish.
brightens everything up.
Oh.
It does.
Oh, that's pretty nice. I like that.
I want to do it the crab with the anchor too.
Crab and Pilsner is really good. Mm-hmm. Oh, my God.
Welcome back to the world, Dan.
The anchor seam and garlic parm was nice.
Yeah.
See, that's the fun thing about all this is that Greg and I or some other people were sitting there just trying all this stuff and sometimes we get the curdled milk that you love so much.
Oh, my
and
God. Never again.
And that's actually a fun part of it. It's like, oh, here, Greg, try this.
Yeah.
So, all right.
And I have no idea what is it good or bad?
So that might be a thing that I don't know that we've ever asked. Have you ever gotten a visceral reaction out of pairings that you've tried?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. What was your least favorite? If you remember it.
He tries to forget.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that we seriously have done so many, and it's just one of those like it's when you fart and you don't tell somebody else, and you just wait for the stink to linger, and then you start to giggle. So it's like, hey, try this pairing, and then you just wait to see because you don't know is it going to be good, is it going to be bad, and so we do that often. But I would actually say, Dan, that was probably the worst that I've ever had, and I'm not lying to you. I mean, and we've done. I mean, honestly,
I'll take it.
I'll bet you in the thousands. That was probably the worst one we've ever done.
I will take it.
Congratulations, Dan.
Oh, thanks.
History has been made here on the Beer Busters podcast.
Wow.
6th anniversary of Craft Tastings and Beer Busters podcast.
Yeah.
Remember, we tried to pair? Was it Guinness that we tried to pair?
So
Oh, that's gonna be hard.
So again,
'Cause it's such
so I'm
a
gonna I
light
can't tell
beer.
you how many, probably hundreds of beer, maybe 100 beers we've tried to pair, and we've always been successful finding a chocolate to pair with every beer that we've had, except for one,
Guinness.
Guinness. And that was probably, I'm going to say, 3 or 4 years ago. We're like, hey, St. Patty's Day is coming up.
Yeah.
Why don't we get together, kind of figure out what would pair well with Guinness? Because it's obviously Irish beer for St. Patty's Day. And I think, and I don't have my notes in front of me, but I'll bet you we went through
It was 30 to 40.
30 to 40 chocolates to pair with Guinness.
I hope not at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it was in one sitting.
Palate fatigue?
That's
Absolutely.
why we finally gave up. It's like, we're
We're done.
full on chocolate. And it's like, we can't.
We
do this
we
anymore.
decided we cannot pair. And here's what happens. And I talked about this earlier, right? You got to match intensities, right? So Guinness is actually one of the lightest beers out there.
Yeah.
And so it's got that flavor, but the body is super duper light, right? So we're thinking, okay, so you got this Guinness stout. Let's pair it with a little bit more of a dark chocolate, matching intensities. But because the body is so light, when you pair it with a dark chocolate, all you taste is the chocolate. But then because it's also then so light, we're like, okay, well, let's try to go a weirdly opposite way and do more of a milk chocolate. And then you don't taste the chocolate, then all you taste. We could not find something that.
What about a white chocolate?
We tried them all.
You tried it too?
We tried white chocolate. We tried dark. We tried spicy. We tried not spicy. We tried herb. We tried, you name it, we tried it. We couldn't find anything.
That's crazy.
Because it's such a unique beer that it's so light, but it's got such deep flavor. It's just odd. We couldn't do it. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Guinness isn't a beer that needs anything.
Question from the gallery.
So, do these guys have like notebooks full of notes of all the different tasting?
So the question from the gallery was that was the Patreon sponsor that's able to sit in here.
You want to ask questions?
Behind
pay
the
us money.
scenes, and that's what you can do. So if you want to be part of that, come be part of it. Be a Patreon of Beer Busters.
Patreon.com/BeerBusters.
So the question was, hey, is there a notebook of stuff? And I have notes of every single thing we've ever tried, even the ones that didn't work. And then almost every one of them has a rating. So basically what Mike and I do is a 5 is like a perfect rating. So the Mad Elf and the Special Dark, that's kind of like a 5. And something has to be at least a 3.5 or higher for us to even remotely consider it going into like a public event. But I have notes of literally everything we've ever tried.
You've taken
paired.
notes every single time we've ever sat down
absolutely.
with you.
That's what I'm going to say. And beyond that, it's when we do the tastings, he's writing down feedback from every single person.
Yep. Because a lot of times we've gotten pairings for events that come from people experimenting.
Well, like the bubble gum.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
like you put a name to the flavor that we could not describe when we did this earlier.
Right, so it's just more notes for me, and then we'd say, oh, this was a really good pairing. Let's make sure we continue to do that. So, yes, I have notes for everything we've ever done, and there's a lot.
I'm going to throw out another off-the-book pairing. The Crab and Midas Touch.
Of course, that's the one beer I don't have any left.
Oh,
no.
Right there. Oh,
If only there was a bottle in front of you. I don't trust Dan, so I'm letting Greg try before
I would tell
do.
you if it was bad. You saw my reaction with the sour milk, right?
I'm sorry.
It's good. It brings out a little more like buttery characteristic, but you get some of the sweetness at the end from the.
There's sweetness,
beer.
but the heat gets jacked up too. For me,
Really, the heat went
My
away
heat-
for me.
No, my heat went.
Wow.
Yeah. There's a weird extra something that I can't.
Well, I'll tell you what. Can I get the
Me.
Midas Touch then? And I'll try it again.
Yep. After I pour myself over.
You could have some after Greg has some.
No, but again, for the listening, there's a great example where you got to try this a couple times. So when Dan had it, he said the heat was subdued, and when I had it, the heat was amplified. So again, it really just depends on how much popcorn you have in your mouth, how much beer you put in your mouth,
Well,
how
I
you
think-
switch things around in your mouth.
And I think that's one thing that we learned tonight was that, you doing a smaller amount of a certain popcorn
Or beer, yeah.
or beer, gave up different flavors, and that's something else that we should consider.
See, there I did a lot of both, and the heat was in the beginning up a little more, but then it dissipated quicker.
I just realized I didn't have the spicy popcorn yet.
Do you? What part don't you?
You want
have?
some of mine? I'm going to try and stay away from it.
Why?
From which?
The spicy, because my mouth is like still like.
Well, I just remember I have this pineapple saison from Saucony, Oahu Sunrise.
Oh, that sounds horrible. Can I try it?
I'm thinking it would go really, really well with the. Okay, I'm going into the spicy popcorn.
It's got a lingering kick. Like I'm still feeling it. I mean, of course, you know how I deal with spice, but
I heard it's really good with the coffee stout.
yeah.
I'm actually feeling the heat in my nose first. Maybe it's because I'm a little congested. It's like a.
I see the wheels turning. I appreciate how hard you're trying to put words to this.
Well, it's like a tropical candy, but.
You know, I wonder the kettle corn and this saison.
All right, we were doing spicy with
Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. I'm just filling in space.
Spice Girls.
That could be a good little clip there because there was nothing else going on.
Oh, it'll happen. Don't worry. Even if there was stuff going on, I could still isolate him.
Could you?
Get just that clip? Yeah.
I was also like deliberately waiting to comment because I was like, there shouldn't be any background noise.
There's no spiciness after it.
Oh, wait.
Oh no, I've waited.
Really? You
Yeah.
didn't have enough popcorn. I put a crap ton of popcorn. As you can see, it's almost gone. That was just from those couple sips. Because I was hoping to get a rush of heat.
Try the Saucony with the kettle and just nothing.
Well, since Dan is wiping his mouth and still swallowing popcorn, if you would like to learn more about craft tastings and the world of 1 + 1 is 3 and mouthgasms, then please search craft tastings on all the interwebs.
I mean, some of these were 1 + 1 equals like a million.
Yeah, and some were 1 + 1 equals negative, but you know.
Sour
1 + 1 equals dirt.
But don't worry, Greg will not make you taste dirt if you go into
Unless you want
his
to.
Unless you want to,
tasting
yeah.
world.
You should
Anything's possible.
you should take to your events a list of bad pairings.
You
You'd be
should
like,
do an I dare you.
Wait, which was the bad
for
one again?
Halloween,
It was the
I
it was
dare
the
you.
spicy lime with the coffee stout.
That's right.
Yeah. Curdled milk. God. Halloween, I'm telling you. The I dare you tasting.
Connecticut Valley
Pay to be tortured.
You can do that cave chili.
coffee stout with a spicy
But-
lime.
Well, they play. You know where that guy where you can pay him to torture you or whatever.
No,
People love that stuff. I saw it on like Netflix or something.
Sure.
weird shit are you into?
No, not
That's called
that.
Craigslist backdoor or something.
Oh my god.
Well, if you do want to seek out craft tastings, and trust me, you should. It was crafttastings.com, right? And or Facebook craft tastings.
Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Yes. But crafttastings.com. Corporate events, private in-home events. If you
mitzvahs.
own a brewery or a restaurant or a beer-themed kind of beer bar or something, we do events there as well. And I've also done a lot of charity fundraising events, which is another good way to bring people in the door and then get them a little liquored up, and then you get them to open up their checkbook and give you money. So it's another way that I do stuff.
It is absolutely worth it. It's incredible. And I will not be able to make it to the bacon night. It hurts. But I hope out there someone will say, you know what, Dan?
Oh, actually, you know
I'll
what?
jump with that grenade for you.
You know what? I just realized by the time they listen to this, it's going to be past.
They've got
So
a few-
forget about that.
No, they've got a few days.
No, it will come out before the 11th.
I will.
Yep.
Okay.
So if you're
All right.
listening to this fresh, you've got 3 days as of this episode's
Wow.
release.
And we've also shared it on social media
Yeah.
too. So
Gotcha,
for
cool.
those that follow us,
Right.
they
Yeah.
know. And make sure to check out the Pop Shop on Queen Street in Lancaster.
Yeah, all of these
really,
popcorns
really
were
awesome stuff.
fucking great.
Yeah, and I want to thank Mark because he donated the popcorn for us
Aw,
this evening.
thanks, Mark.
Yeah,
So
You're
that was
awesome.
very nice of him.
And I really wish I could think of the one that I had before that was like the chocolatey popcorn with the one of the beers. It was so good. Oh,
The gingerbread, like
The gingerbread
oh
was
my
great.
god, that popcorn is unreal. They were all good. Even the kettle corn.
garlic
Yeah.
parm, I think, was the surprise winner for me.
Yeah,
The
That was
herb
super
in there
good.
is a little surprising, which is
Yep.
good.
Oh yeah.
Good stuff.
it takes it to the next level.
Yes,
It
it
does.
does. Well, while you're also checking out Craft Tastings online, don't forget BeerBustersPodcast.com, Facebook, we are Beer Busters Podcast, Twitter and Instagram, at BeerBusters, 805-991-BEER, 805-991-2337. Looking at you, Joe Man and James, and also Patreon.com.
Anyone else who listens whose name begins with J?
Right. Patreon.com/BeerBusters.
Wait, we have a question.
Can I add something really quick?
Sure.
So tonight when we were at Shaler Brewing, ran into a guy that was doing a fundraiser for Team 17 Strong.
Yeah.
It's a kid from the Reading area, Anthony Myers. He discovered he had a brain tumor. High school kid. So they're trying to raise money to support his family. I just want to say, so team17strong.org.
Yes.
Very
do
cool.
that. Help out somebody in the community.
Yeah, all the Berks County school districts have been doing some awesome things
That's great.
to help the family. It's
Yeah.
been really cool to see everyone in Berks County coming together.
Yes.
Thank you.
Of course. Well, thank you for bringing it up. And, gentlemen, thank you, of course, for being here.
Well, thanks for having us. Again, it's.
I
my
can't
ple-
believe it's been 6
It's
years.
my ple-
Come
it's
on.
my
6
pleasure.
one.
It's my pleasure. It's our pleasure with Mike to have Mike along. Because honestly, truly, I can't put these events together unless I have somebody like Mike that can really just help put these pairings
Aw.
together. And he's like I say, he's my CFO, he's my chief flavor officer.
It's a tough
But,
job, but
It is.
Somebody's got
somebody's got to
But
do
again,
it.
we do it for you guys. So thanks again for having us back.
Oh, absolutely. And here's to next year. God willing.
Yep.
All right, cool.
And the creek don't rise.
The creek don't. Well, that unfortunately brings us to the end of a very tasty episode of Beer Busters. And thanks to the patrons who were able to make it to this episode. Remember,
they're already waiting for the last call.
Yeah, I know. And remember, patreon.com/beerbusters. That is how you can get yourself invited
The first last call beer just vomited.
Oh,
on me.
God. To basement recordings such as this. It's amazing. Well, hey, my name is Dan Baker, and I have been joined by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner.
And the demented and fermented
Wayne Baker.
I think I'm going to try to pan that when I edit it, just to see how it works out.
That'd be
No squids
interesting.
were harmed this time. We'll see you next time, my friend.
Swish, swish, bish.
Yeah. I'm up to my ears in flavor.